When life pushed him to the edge, he prayed, not knowing if anyone was listening. Doors stayed closed. People turned away. Just when hope felt foolish, a small act of kindness changed everything. This story will remind you that faith works in silence, and help often arrives at the moment you're about to give up. Just not in the way you expect. He had followed the path everyone said was right. He worked hard, stayed honest, helped others when he could, and believed that faith would guide him through difficult times. Yet life kept placing obstacles in his way. Each failure felt heavier than the last. Nights became longer, filled with quiet prayers whispered into the darkness. There were no signs, no sudden answers, no clear direction, no silence. Still, he chose to believe, even when believing felt painful. Every morning, he woke up carrying doubt in one hand and faith in the other. Doubt questioned his patience, mocked his hope, and asked why nothing was changing. Faith, on the other hand, had no explanations to offer, only the strength to take one more step. He learned that faith does not erase fear. It teaches you how to walk despite it. When nothing around him made sense, faith became the only thing that did. People around him began to lose confidence in his dreams. Some advised him to be realistic, others suggested giving up. Their words stung, but he realized something important. Faith is a deeply personal journey. It doesn't need applause or approval. It survives in quiet persistence, in showing up every day, even when progress is invisible. While the world measured success by results, faith measured it by endurance. There were moments he wanted to stop believing, moments when giving up felt easier than hoping again. But he understood that faith isn't about seeing the whole path, it's about trusting the next step. Even in confusion, even in pain, he kept moving forward. That silent strength shaped him, prepared him, and built resilience he didn't know he had. Long before circumstances changed, faith had already changed him. After countless disappointments, he reached a point where he stopped expecting help from familiar faces. Friends were busy, promises faded, and support slowly disappeared. Instead of growing bitter, he grew quieter. He focused on doing what he could and left the rest to faith. He no longer begged for favors or explained his struggles. He simply kept going, trusting that if help was meant to come, it would find its way to him. One ordinary day, when he least expected it, help arrived in the simplest form. It wasn't a grand miracle or a dramatic rescue. It was a small gesture, a conversation, a kind word, a moment of understanding. At first it seemed insignificant, almost easy to ignore. But that single act changed the direction of his journey. It reminded him that help doesn't always arrive loudly. Sometimes it whispers. He realized that he had been looking for help in the wrong places. He expected it from people who knew his story, but it came from someone who knew nothing about his past. That made the moment even more powerful. It taught him that kindness doesn't require history, and support doesn't always come from those closest to us. Sometimes strangers become the answer to prayers we've kept silent. That experience reshaped his perspective. He understood that faith works behind the scenes, arranging moments and people in ways we can't predict. Help often comes disguised as coincidence, and blessings often arrive unnoticed. When he looked back, he saw how every delay led him to that exact moment. From then on, he stopped questioning how help would come. He trusted that when the time was right, it would arrive just as quietly, just as perfectly as it did that day. There came a moment when his strength felt completely drained. He had waited longer than he thought he could, endured more than he believed was fair, and still the outcome remained uncertain. Every part of him wanted to quit. The weight of disappointment pressed heavily on his heart, and the idea of letting go felt like relief. No one would blame him for stopping. After all, he had tried his best, yet something within him refused to give up. It wasn't confidence or certainty, it was a quiet inner voice reminding him how far he had already come. He realized that giving up now would erase all the effort, all the lessons, and all the growth shaped by struggle. Faith reminded him that the hardest moments often come right before change begins. When patience is stretched to its limit, purpose is usually close. He took one more step, even though he was exhausted. He showed up one more day, even when hope felt fragile. That single decision became a turning point. What he didn't know then was that everything he had been waiting for was already aligning. The delay was not denial, it was preparation. Each setback had strengthened him for the responsibility he was about to receive. Looking back, he understood that if he had stopped even a moment earlier, he would have missed the breakthrough waiting just ahead. The miracle wasn't sudden. It was earned through endurance. That experience taught him a powerful truth. Success often tests how badly you want it by asking you to wait. Faith keeps you standing when logic says sit down. And sometimes, the only difference between failure and victory is the courage to keep going one step longer,